At her wedding, my wife chose him on the dance floor. I made my choice too. The music was loud enough to erase thought, bass rolling through the marble floor, glasses clinking, laughter rising and falling like waves. I stood near the edge of the ballroom, champagne untouched in my hand, watching my wife dance with another man. Not just any man, her best friend. He had his hand on her waist, familiar, possessive, not careless, confident. The kind of touch that doesn't ask permission because it already has it. She laughed, her head tilted back the way it used to when it was just us. Her hair brushed his cheek. He leaned in and whispered something I couldn't hear. She didn't pull away. That was the moment. Not when they started dancing, not when the guests cheered them on, assuming innocence, not even when my name was called and she didn't look. It was when her eyes met mine, just for a second, long enough for recognition, long enough for choice. Then she turned back to him and smiled. Something in me went cold. Not shattered, not loud, just precise. I checked my phone. No messages, no missed calls, no apologies waiting to be written. Across the room, her sister clapped along to the beat. Her parents laughed, proud, distracted. Everyone was celebrating love while mine was being rewritten in public. I felt nothing dramatic, no rage, no tears, only clarity. People think betrayal announces itself with explosions. It doesn't. It reveals itself quietly, on a dance floor, under warm lights, with witnesses who don't know they're watching an ending. I took one step back from the crowd and decided I wouldn't stop her. I would let her finish choosing. We'd been married 3 years, long enough for routines to replace romance, long enough for silences to stop feeling dangerous. She used to tell me everything: work gossip, family tension, the way strangers looked at her when she wore red. Then, slowly, she stopped. Not abruptly, that would have been noticeable. It was subtler, shorter answers, phone tilted away, laughing at messages she never explained. And him, he'd always been there, since before me, the safe one, the man everyone trusted because he was always around. I ignored the instinct that warned me. Men are taught to doubt themselves before they doubt women they love. When I asked her once, casually, if anything felt different between us, she smiled. That rehearsed smile. "You're imagining things," she said. I wanted to believe her. That's the cruelest part of love, how willingly you participate in your own deception. At the wedding, watching her dance with him, memories rearranged themselves. The late nights he picked her up because it was safer, the inside jokes that excluded me, the way she defended him too quickly when I questioned boundaries. I told myself it wasn't physical. That word, just friends, has buried more marriages than infidelity ever could. As the song changed, their bodies didn't separate. If anything, they moved closer. I felt the denial peel away, not painfully, efficiently. The realization didn't scream. It whispered, "This didn't start tonight." I remembered every time she told me I was overthinking, every time she accused me of insecurity, every time I apologized for noticing. People think betrayal breaks you. It doesn't. It reorganizes you. I watched her rest her head against his shoulder, and I understood something important. She hadn't betrayed me impulsively. She had replaced me gradually, and tonight was just the public confirmation. I didn't interrupt the dance. I didn't leave. I stayed, still, observant. I let the night continue like a controlled experiment. Patterns emerge when you stop interfering. When the song ended, he didn't let go immediately. 3 seconds longer than necessary. She didn't correct it. I watched her scan the room afterward, not for me, but for him when he stepped away. When I finally approached, she startled, just slightly, a flicker of guilt, not enough. "Having fun?" I asked, neutral tone, curious, not accusatory. She nodded too quickly. "It's just dancing." I smiled. Of course it was. I kissed her cheek, light, polite, public. Her body stiffened. That told me everything. The rest of the night unfolded like confirmation bias. They gravitated toward each other, stood too close, spoke in lowered voices. When she laughed, she looked at him first. I excused myself early. She didn't notice. Back in the hotel room, I didn't sleep. I reviewed years, every compromise, every ignored instinct. At dawn, while she slept beside me, turned away, I did nothing dramatic. I planned. I accessed phone records, not messages, metadata. Timestamps don't lie. Frequency reveals intimacy better than words. The calls were consistent, daily, late nights, early mornings. I checked social media, photos tagged, untagged, cropped. He was always just out of frame. I began observing without reacting. Stopped initiating affection. She didn't comment. I stopped asking questions. She relaxed. That hurt more than anger ever could. I ran the numbers, compared dates, cross-referenced absences. This wasn't an affair that happened to her. It was one she curated, slowly, safely, behind my patience. I didn't confront. I prepared, because confrontation gives them control, and I was done handing it over. The truth arrived quietly, a message meant for him, sent to me. Mistakes always happen when people feel comfortable. It wasn't explicit. It didn't need to be. Last night felt right. Finally. No name, no apology, just certainty. I waited until she came home. I was sitting at the table, calm, papers arranged neatly. She noticed immediately the stillness. "What's wrong?" she asked. I slid my phone across the table, screen lit. She didn't touch it. Her face drained slowly, like color retreating from a wound. "How long?" I asked. Not angry, curious. She tried to speak, failed, swallowed. "I didn't mean for it to—" I raised my hand. "No stories," I said, "just facts." Silence stretched. She looked smaller, cornered. "It started months ago," she whispered. I nodded, as expected. "Did you ever plan to stop?" I asked. She hesitated. That hesitation was the loudest sound in the room. "No," I answered for her. She cried then, not because she hurt me, because the illusion was gone. I placed one final document between us, a timeline, dates, calls, events, her wedding dance highlighted. She stared at it, her mouth opened, closed. She reached for my hand. Instinct, habit. I pulled back. Her hand hovered, then dropped, and in that moment, the power shifted. I didn't yell, I didn't insult her. I told her what would happen next. "I'm leaving," I said, "tonight." She panicked, asked if we could fix it, if therapy would help, if time would soften this. I shook my head. "No," I said, "you already chose." I told her I wouldn't expose her. I didn't need to. She would do that herself, by being seen, by being honest, by living with what she traded. I packed efficiently, took only what was mine. At the door, she collapsed, apologizing, begging, promising distance from him. That's when I delivered the final cut. "I hope he was worth it," I said, quietly, "because you lost something you can't replace." She asked what that was. I looked at her, really looked. "Someone who trusted you completely." I left, didn't look back. Weeks later, I heard they tried to make it work. Guilt poisons romance. They didn't last. She reached out, long messages, short regrets. I never replied. Silence is a boundary they can't cross. I don't hate her. Hatred requires investment. I withdrew mine. What I feel is clarity. I learned that betrayal isn't always violent. Sometimes it dances, smiles, asks you to clap along. I learned that control doesn't come from confrontation. It comes from knowing when to walk away. She chose him under warm lights. In front of everyone, I chose myself, in the quiet afterward. People ask if I'd do anything differently. I wouldn't, because the moment she turned back to him on that dance floor, she gave me permission to stop trying, to stop hoping, to stop loving someone who had already left. And the door closing behind me didn't sound like loss. It sounded like freedom, quiet, final, earned.